There's a state that was sold as the affordable retirement destination for 50 consecutive years. Sun, no state income tax, warm winters, a cost of life that actually made sense on a fixed income. People planned around it, built their budgets around it, made it the centerpiece of 35 years of saving. And then they arrived and discovered the version of the state they planned for no longer exists. Across America, the retirement map is being redrawn, not by one catastrophic event, not by a market crash, but by 10 states that are quietly making fixed income life mathematically impossible. States where the house you budgeted for in 2018 now costs 54% more. States where the insurance bill arrived and turned a reasonable retirement into an annual financial emergency. States where the income tax on the 401k you spent 40 years building shows up in a code nobody explained when you were planning the move. The people being priced out of retirement in these states didn't make bad decisions. They made good decisions for a version of these states that no longer exists. In this countdown, we're exposing the 10 states where retirement is no longer affordable, and the specific reason the math stopped working in each one. Subscribe before your retirement plan depends on numbers that expired while you weren't watching. Let's count them down. Number 10, Alaska. Retiring in Alaska is like deciding to live completely free from the grid and then discovering that living completely free from the grid costs significantly more than staying on it. Alaska was always going to require a certain kind of person, but for the right retiree, the trade made sense. Space, silence, scenery that makes every other state look like a parking lot, and a state that pays you a dividend just for showing up. That calculation has been quietly falling apart. The cost of living in Alaska runs 24% above the national average. In rural areas, groceries cost 30 to 40% more than the lower 48. A gallon of milk in some communities costs what a full meal costs in Ohio. Healthcare access ranks 46th in the country. Rural clinics have been closing. For a 70-year-old who needs a cardiologist, the answer in parts of Alaska is a plane ticket. The permanent fund dividend, the annual oil revenue check that was supposed to offset the premium of living there, has averaged around $1,300. Inflation eats it before February. The heating bill doesn't negotiate. Picture this. You're 72 years old, retired, living in a community 60 miles from the nearest hospital. It's March. The road to town is temporarily closed. Your last supply order took 3 weeks, and you're looking at a heating bill that consumed a quarter of your monthly budget. This was supposed to be freedom. One Alaska retiree wrote it the way only someone who's lived it can. I came for the space. I stayed because leaving was too expensive. Then I realized staying was too expensive too. Alaska doesn't push retirees out dramatically. It does it by arithmetic. The arithmetic of distance, the arithmetic of isolation, the arithmetic of a beautiful place that was never designed to be cheap. Number 9, Idaho. Retiring in Idaho used to be the move. The move you made when California priced you out, but you still wanted mountains, clean air, and room to breathe without spending a California salary to do it. Boise's median home price sat around $250,000 in 2018. By January 2025, the median had climbed past $450,000, an increase of more than 54% in 5 years. HBI blog. That's not a market cycle. That's a complete transformation of what Idaho was supposed to be. Remote workers from California and Washington flooded in between 2020 and 2023 with coastal salaries and paid whatever the listing said. And the retirees who had been planning their Idaho move for a decade found themselves competing for homes against people earning 3 times their fixed income. Idaho's income tax rate is 5.3% on all taxable income above the base threshold. Distributions from 401ks, IRAs, and private pensions are subject to that rate. RemoteWorkLaws.com Social Security is exempt. But the accounts most modern retirees actually built their retirement around, the IRA, the 401k, are not. Picture this. You're a couple, both 67, retired. You spent 12 years building a retirement plan around Boise. The numbers worked perfectly in 2019. The house you budgeted $280,000 for now lists at $455,000. And the state takes 5.3% out of every IRA withdrawal before it reaches you. One pre-retirement couple described it plainly on a relocation forum. We had a plan. a very specific, very carefully built plan. Idaho changed the terms while we were still building toward them. Idaho didn't change the scenery. It changed the price tag on the scenery. And on a fixed income, those are the same thing. Number 8. Georgia. Retiring in Georgia is like being told the buffet has everything you need at a price you can manage, and then discovering that the specific items you planned around cost significantly more than the menu suggested. Georgia has real retirement advantages. Social Security is exempt. Residents 65 and older can exclude up to $65,000 per person in retirement income from state taxes. For a married couple, both 65 and older, that exclusion can shelter up to $130,000 in combined retirement income from Georgia's flat income tax rate of 5.19%. Below that threshold, most retirees pay little or nothing in state income taxes. That's a genuine benefit. And then you look at Atlanta. The Atlanta metro has experienced one of the most dramatic housing cost surges in the Southeast. Median home prices in desirable suburban counties, Forsyth, Gwinnett, Cherokee, have climbed past $400,000. The Buckhead Corridor and East Cobb communities are well above that. For the retiree who planned their Georgia move around the affordable Southeast story, the story changed while they were saving. Home insurance costs in Georgia have been rising sharply. Severe convective storms, tornado activity, and reinsurance pressure are showing up in annual renewal letters across the state. And cost of living in Metro Atlanta has been rising fast enough that the affordable state reputation increasingly belongs to the rural parts of Georgia, not the parts most retirees actually want to live in. Picture this. You moved to Marietta 7 years ago. Sensible plan. The house was $310,000. The neighborhood was exactly what you saved for. And now the insurance renewal came in 28% higher than last year. And the couple on your street, who moved in 3 years after you, paid $420,000 for the same house. One retiree put it simply in a Georgia seniors group. Georgia is still a good deal compared to New York, but it's not the same good deal it was when we made the decision, and nobody warned us that the deal had an expiration date. Georgia isn't a retirement trap, it's a retirement expectation gap. The tax code is genuinely favorable. The housing market moved faster than the tax code could protect you. Number 7. Virginia. Retiring in Virginia is like accepting a position that comes with real benefits and then discovering the zip code they assign you to is one of the most expensive regions in the entire country. Virginia taxes most retirement income. Social Security is exempt, but pension distributions, 401k withdrawals, and IRA income are taxed at rates running up to 5.75%. Virginia offers an age deduction of up to $12,000 for persons 65 and older. But the deduction phases out by $1 for every $1 that the taxpayer's federal AGI surpasses $50,000 for single filers and $75,000 for married filers. Smart asset translation for a retired couple drawing from 2 pensions and an IRA. The deduction is likely gone entirely. Because most retired couples in Virginia with combined retirement income above $75,000 receive zero deduction. The full 5.75% applies to every dollar above that. And in Northern Virginia specifically, where tens of thousands of federal employees retire after 25 or 30 years of service, the cost of staying in the region they built their careers in has become a serious calculation. Median home values in Fairfax County, Arlington, and Loudoun County all exceed $700,000. The cost of living in Northern Virginia runs 30 to 40% above the national average. Picture this. You spent 28 years in federal service, good pension, FEHB healthcare coverage continuing into retirement, paid off house in Fairfax County, and you sit down to calculate what staying in Virginia costs over the next 20 years versus what it costs in a state with no income tax and a median home value half what yours is. The spreadsheet does not produce a comfortable answer. One retired federal employee wrote it the way only someone who has done that specific math can. I served this country for 3 decades. I did not expect the state I served it from to be one of the most expensive places I could possibly choose to age in. Virginia is a beautiful state with real history and real character. It's also a state where the retirement tax burden falls heaviest on the exact people who built their professional lives there and stayed. Number 6. North Carolina. For a decade, if you asked any retirement publication where to retire in the Southeast, the answer was North Carolina, Asheville specifically. Mountain air, a nationally recognized art scene, farm-to-table culture before it was everywhere. The Blue Ridge Parkway, 15 minutes from your front door. For thousands of retirees from the Northeast and Midwest, Asheville wasn't a plan B, it was the plan. In October 2024, Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina. Not a glancing blow, a direct, catastrophic hit that turned Asheville's River Arts District into wreckage, washed out roads residents had used for generations, and left retirees who had built their entire final chapter around this specific place staring at a fundamentally altered reality. The area is working hard to rebuild after the 2024 hurricane brought historic flooding to its arts district. Moving muscle beyond Asheville, the broader state retirement picture includes a tax structure most planning guides undersell. North Carolina has a flat income tax rate of 4.25% in 2025. Withdrawals from retirement accounts are fully taxed. Additionally, pension incomes are fully taxed. The annuity expert Social Security is exempt, but every dollar from a pension or IRA is subject to that rate with no general exemption for retirees. Charlotte's median home now exceeds $390,000. Raleigh is above $420,000. And Asheville, even post-Helene, commands premium prices for intact properties because the demand never went away. What changed is the risk calculation. Picture this. You moved to Asheville in 2021. Perfect town, perfect pace of life. The kind of retirement you earned. October 2024. The flood came, and you found yourself calculating how much of your retirement you'd have to spend to restore something that no retirement guide ever told you could be swept away. One Western North Carolina retiree wrote it plainly. I chose this place because it was supposed to be the reward. Nobody in any retirement publication mentioned that the mountains could flood. North Carolina is still beautiful. The tax rate is still lower than many states. But the gap between the retirement dream and the retirement reality in parts of this state is now wide enough that a Category 4 storm can fall through it. If this is making you recalculate something, hit subscribe. This channel runs the retirement math that the brochures don't include. Subscribe now. Let's finish the list. Number 5. South Carolina. Retiring in South Carolina was the plan for anyone who wanted beach retirement without the Florida prices. For 30 years, that was a legitimate, financially reasonable plan. Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Hilton Head. Affordable Atlantic coast living with mild winters, golf, and the kind of lifestyle the retirement magazines kept printing pictures of. That version of South Carolina is no longer the price on the listing. Charleston's median home price has climbed past $530,000. Hilton Head has moved well into luxury territory. Myrtle Beach, once the affordable entry point into beach retirement, now starts conversations at $300,000 and rising. South Carolina taxes retirement income with a deduction of only $15,000. Above that threshold, retirement income is taxed at rates reaching up to 6.2%, which means the pension you planned around, the IRA you built for 35 years, the 401k that was supposed to fund the beach retirement, all of it above $15,000 is in the tax code's reach. And the insurance situation in South Carolina mirrors what happened in Florida. Hurricane exposure, reinsurance pressure, and storm frequency have been pushing premiums up across coastal counties for years. The Hilton Head and Beaufort County markets in particular have seen insurance costs climb in ways that were not part of any retirement budget built 10 years ago. Picture this. You planned your South Carolina retirement in 2014. You researched Charleston. You found a beautiful house for $310,000. You built your budget around it. By the time you retired in 2025, that house was $530,000. The insurance renewal on the comparable home was 34% higher than the prior year. And the $15,000 retirement income deduction barely covered 1 month of IRA withdrawals. One South Carolina retiree said it the way only someone who planned carefully and arrived to a different reality can say it. I chose here because it was the affordable alternative to Florida. I did not realize that affordable alternative had an expiration date. South Carolina's beaches are still real. The weather is still what it always was. The price of accessing it in retirement is no longer what was advertised. Number 4. Washington State. Retiring in Washington state is like accepting a job with no income tax and then opening the full offer letter and discovering the cost of living, the sales tax, and the property values in the parts of the state where people actually want to retire. Washington state has no income tax, Social Security is not taxed, pension distributions are not taxed, 401k and IRA withdrawals are not taxed at the state level. For retirees drawing from retirement accounts, that is a genuine and meaningful advantage. And then the rest of the offer letter arrives. The median home value in King County is nearly $900,000, with the median annual property tax bill approaching $7,300. Smart asset. The state sales tax rate is 6.5%, but local add-ons in cities like Seattle and Tacoma bring the total to 10.5% or higher. Edelman Financial Engine's Washington taxes long-term capital gains at 7% on the first $1 million and 9.9% above that. The estate tax reaches up to 35% on estates above the exemption, and Kiplinger ranked Washington 47th out of 50 states for retirement affordability. 47th, in a state with no income tax, which tells you something important about what no income tax actually saves you when everything else costs what it costs in Western Washington. Picture this. You retire and move to a suburb south of Seattle. No income tax on your monthly pension withdrawal. Real savings. Then the sales tax hits every purchase. Then the property bill arrives on the $800,000 house you bought to be near the grandchildren. Then you try to sell some investments to supplement your income. And you discover the capital gains tax that the no income tax framing never mentioned. One retiree described moving to Washington state in a retirement forum. It felt like a discount that turned out to have about 17 exceptions in the fine print. Washington has genuinely spectacular scenery. The no income tax advantage is real. The rest of the financial picture in Western Washington is real too, and on a fixed income, you pay all of it regardless of which part the brochure chose to highlight. Number 3. Louisiana. Retiring in Louisiana is like buying a house at a price that looks too good to be true, and then discovering the Homeowners Association is run by hurricanes and has no budget cap. Louisiana looks affordable on paper. Social Security is not taxed. Property taxes are relatively low. Median home prices that would make a retiree from the Northeast genuinely emotional with gratitude. And then the full cost of ownership arrives. Louisiana's insurance market has been in structural crisis for years. Major private carriers have exited the state as repeated hurricane losses made writing coverage there financially untenable. Homeowners who lose private coverage turn to Louisiana Citizens, the state's insurer of last resort. RT premiums in the most exposed parishes have reached levels that transform a $200,000 home into an $18,000 to $25,000 a year obligation when you include property insurance and flood insurance together. And then there is the coastline itself. Louisiana loses a football field of land every single hour to coastal erosion. That's not poetry. That's the risk line moving in the wrong direction every year of your retirement. Picture this. You retired to a quiet parish outside Baton Rouge. The house was $190,000, affordable by any standard. And then a storm you didn't plan for caused damage your insurance company disputed for 14 months while your savings covered the repairs. And you discovered that the cheap house was never the total cost. The total cost was the cheap house plus everything that comes with living in a state where the weather arrives with an invoice. One Louisiana retiree wrote it with the kind of exhausted clarity that only comes from living it. I have a cheap house. I have an expensive existence. I did not understand the difference until I moved here. Louisiana isn't a bad place to retire. It's a deceptive one. The cheap part is visible on the listing. The real price shows up after you've unpacked. Number 2, Arizona. Retiring in Arizona was the plan. For 5 decades, Arizona was the plan. The place people went when California was too expensive, Florida was too humid, and they still wanted sun and warmth and room to breathe on a budget that worked. Phoenix was affordable. Scottsdale was aspirational but reachable. The entire Sunbelt retirement dream had an Arizona version that was specifically calibrated to be accessible to the middle class. The median home price in Phoenix rose from around $293,000 in January 2020 to $453,000 in January 2025, an increase of 54.6% in 5 years. HBI blog. The retirees who built their Arizona plan in 2017 budgeted for a state that no longer exists in 2026. And the Phoenix number is not the ceiling. Scottsdale saw its median home price reach $1,180,000 in the first 10 months of 2025. AZ Big Media, not a luxury outlier. The median. And then there's the heat. Phoenix now regularly exceeds 110 degrees Fahrenheit for extended stretches each summer. The electricity bill to run air conditioning from May through October is not a minor inconvenience. It's a fixed monthly cost that retirees who built their budgets in 2015 did not model accurately. And then there is the water. Arizona's reliance on the Colorado River is not a theoretical future problem. Lake Mead has been operating at historically low levels. The long-term water supply to one of the fastest-growing retirement regions in America is a legitimate open question that a 30-year retirement horizon cannot afford to ignore. Picture this. You planned your Arizona retirement in 2016. You budgeted $320,000 for a 3-bedroom in the East Valley. You plan to own it mortgage-free. In 2025, the neighborhood you budgeted for lists at $460,000. The August electricity bill was $490. And you've started reading about the Colorado River Compact in ways you wish you'd started reading 10 years ago. Arizona retiree said it the way only someone who chose the right state at the wrong moment can say it. I didn't make a mistake. I made a plan. The state changed after I made it. Arizona isn't a bad retirement state. It's a good retirement state that moved 54% faster than the people who plan to retire in it. And on a fixed income, that distance between the plan and the reality is not closable. Number 1. Hawaii. Retiring in Hawaii is like spending your entire working life believing in a destination, making every right financial decision to get there, and then arriving to discover the destination is specifically calibrated to be unaffordable to everyone who earned it the way you did. According to CNBC, you will need about $2,000 to retire comfortably in Hawaii. This is about $1,000 more than the average amount Americans say they need. Unbiased median home prices in 2025 exceed $850,000. Monthly rent for a 1-bedroom in Honolulu ranges from $1,600 to $2,800. Groceries cost $1,000 to $1,500 per month for a couple. The cost of living runs 50 to 90% above the national average. A merry freight, Hawaii's income tax runs up to 11%. A general excise tax of 4% applies to nearly every transaction in the state. About 85 to 90% of Hawaii's food is imported. This means higher prices across the board and more potential disruption in supply if a storm or global event affects shipping. Financial Samurai Hawaii exempts Social Security from state income tax. That is a genuine benefit. But private pension income and IRA withdrawals are taxed. And on an island where a gallon of milk approaches $8, every dollar the state clips is a dollar with extra purchasing power you needed. To comfortably afford a median-priced home in Honolulu, a household would need to earn $350,000 or more annually. The median household income in Honolulu is about $88,000. Financial Samurai. Picture this. Yo, you spent 40 years in Cleveland. Gray winters. Every single one of those winters you thought about Hawaii, the ocean, the warmth, the feeling of having earned somewhere beautiful. You saved carefully, you planned precisely, you arrived, and in your first year, you spent more on groceries than your parents' entire monthly retirement budget. One longtime Hawaii local said it the way only someone born there can say it. My parents retired here. My grandparents retired here. My children will not be able to retire here. That sentence is not about tourists. It is about the slow erasure of who Hawaii was always built for. Hawaii is real. The beauty is not a lie. The math is also real. And the math requires $2,000 in savings before the beauty becomes a life you can sustain rather than a vacation you can no longer afford to leave. Retirement isn't just about how much you saved. It's about where you land when the savings stops. And in these 10 states, landing is getting harder every year. Not because of one moment, because of the quiet, relentless accumulation of costs that no retirement brochure puts in the headline and no financial calculator automatically models. The home that cost 54% more than the plan predicted. The insurance bill that arrived and rewrote the annual budget. The income tax on accounts that 40 years of guidance told you were your tax-advantaged savings. The storm that hit the retirement town you chose because it was supposed to be safe. The people leaving these states in retirement aren't the ones who failed to plan. They're the ones who planned for a version of these states that no longer exists. Subscribe, because the next video covers the states where the retirement math still actually works in 2026. And that is information worth having before you sign anything